Okay, so today we'll be talking with Paul Smith on 4P's Marketing about the future of digital in publishing. So how has the business model changed in recent years for publishers?
Well, the digital environment's really given publishers both a threat and an opportunity. The threat is that the core business model for publishers has been advertising, and advertising on the web is at significantly lower rates than that in any print publication. That's the threat. The opportunity is that with digital and publishers have got great content, and that content gets shared. The opportunity is how they can then share that with their community, how they can start then conversations. So that's a two-way discussion with their community, and the opportunity then comes to how they can monetize that content, how they can make sure that they are really genuinely reflecting what's going on in the world at the moment.
Okay, and with reference to social media, how can they use that to their advantage?
The opportunity there is really to embrace what's going on in that community, and then really become, rather than a broadcast, here's one-way traffic, actually start listening, start replaying, and they can use that to their advantage. They can better understand what's happening in the area that they're publishing about. They can get feedback from users, they get feedback from comment, and indeed they can get that audience to start generating content for themselves. So, sort of some of the good examples of people like the BBC and the ITV who use local news. Once upon a time you sent a reporter, now you're getting videos from people who are there on the scene. Yes, they have to manage that, they have to edit it, they have to be careful about how they use it, but ultimately they have hundreds of people commenting on something and reporting the facts as real people see it, and that in itself is valuable.
So it's quite an effective and sort of cost-effective way of measuring that, gauging that.
Yeah, they can absolutely get far faster ways of getting feedback on stories and what's interesting and what's relevant, and without having to do masses and masses of research. If they don't pick up interest, fine, move on to the next one.
And what are the dangers that they should be aware of at the same time?
Okay, so the obvious danger is a straightforward legal one. Lots of court cases around inappropriate use of Twitter and so on. Yeah, absolutely, that's a real problem for publishers. But I think beyond that also it is just the volume and the opportunity that they face in trying to actually pick what is important, what isn't. And that's ultimately what a publisher does, is they see all that noise, they watch what's happening and are able to make money out of presenting that content in a better managed, probably more bite-sized chunk for readers.
Right. And how can publishers change their business processes to increase interaction with audiences?
So lots of publishers have already started this, and it's absolutely true in the sort of news environment. Where as you move into magazines, it starts becoming a bit harder. But really, it is simple things. It is about having ways in which people can comment on stories. It's ways in which you can send material into the journalists. So simple things like Twitter, giving people the ability to send an appropriate message to the journalist reporting in your area. It's a really easy thing to do. In terms of magazine publications, it's still very much seen as the commercial drive is towards subscriptions, and that's then still seeing a very glossy magazine in a nice format on a nice gadget in your hands, which is still a one-way directional thing. But even then, having the ability to share pages, having the ability to link to video content, all that sort of stuff starts then to move even those publishers then into a much more engaging environment.
Okay. And with the development of digital, how have we seen relationships with brands and partners changing for publishers?
So one of the main things which is beginning to emerge now in the 21st century is that historically publishers tended to basically see the advertisers as their ways of supporting the business, and today they're seeing brands much more as friends, because brands themselves have stories to tell. They have the customer, the consumer, the user, whatever you want to call them. And in many ways, the brands themselves now want to be able to surface that. The brands in themselves you could almost argue they're becoming publishers in their own right. And there's some very good examples of where actually brands have taken that to heart. And probably a very good example of that is Pampers.com, which is just a fantastic website for mums to be. In fact, mainly for mums, and dads, why not? But it's absolutely reverse engineered. It's not about selling nappies. It's about providing parental advice. So all of a sudden, Pampers has become a publisher. Well, that's a bit scary. That's changing, and so publishers are embracing that. They're now realising actually the skill they have in the way they present information, the way that they package that up. That's their core strength. Brands don't have that. So there's an absolute marriage there that is about using the ability of publishers to present information in a better way, to make it more accessible to people, that allied to the content which brands can have, should be something that actually people find really valuable. And probably a really good example of that actually happening in practice in a more commercial way is ASOS, which essentially started as, this is how you find the stuff which you see on your screens. Yes, everybody knows that, that's where it comes from. But ultimately they see themselves really as a publisher first and as a retailer second.
Yeah.
It's beginning to change now, yeah, absolutely, much more about retail. But that thinking, well, how can we help customers solve the problem, that brand got very early on.
One final question in reference to search engines. What relationship should publishers have with Google?
That's the billion-dollar question, and essentially the publishers have a kind of love-hate relationship in that they love the fact that Google can make people find their content faster, so that's great, but they hate the idea that Google maybe they're effectively taking their content, stealing it, not wholly, but taking the key important snippets and then making those visible for free. Well, again, that for me, that's about how do they embrace the good things about Google in terms of search engines, because actually that's allowing your potential customers to find your content more easily. That's a great thing. The scary thing, I think, for publish for Google is not the search engine, it's the advertising. It's actually the value of advertising on Google is so powerful, and therefore what you end up is a sort of downward race in price, and that's then scary for the publishers who are then thinking, well, where's our advertising revenue going to go? The opportunity for advertisers then is to become more niche, to actually connect with those people who are genuinely interested in that area, because Google aren't interested in that. It's about connecting with those people, and advertisers will then see the value in higher value advertising to really get in deep inside that particular area of interest. So Google's a threat, Google's an opportunity, yeah, but they've got to embrace and learn how to play along with Google, because we've all used the term Google that. It's a start of a customer journey. What the publishers have to do is ensure that the end of that customer journey lands on their pages showing their content.
Great, okay, cool, thank you very much.